سمع الله لمن حمده. الله 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 أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون وما تنفقوا من شيء فإن الله به عليم. كل الطعام كان حلا لبني إسرائيل إلا ما حرم إسرائيل على نفسه من قبل أن تنزل التوراة. قل فأتوا بالتوراة فاتلوها إن كنتم صادقين. فمن افترى على الله الكذب من بعد ذلك فأولئك هم الظالمون. قل صدق الله فاتبعوا ملة إبراهيم حنيفا وما كان من المشركين. إن أول بيت وضع للناس للذي ببكة مباركا وهدى للعالمين فيه آيات بينات مقام إبراهيم ومن دخله كان آمنا ولله على الناس حج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا ومن كفر فإن الله غني عن العالمين. قل يا أهل الكتاب لم تكفرون بالله قل يا أهل الكتاب لم تكفرون بآيات الله والله شهيد على ما تعملون. قل يا أهل الكتاب لم تصدون عن سبيل الله من آمن تبغونها عوجا وأنتم شهداء وما الله بغافل عما تعملون. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Yesterday after the Taraweeh I asked Yusuf and his friends how many rakats they had prayed, and he said we only prayed 4 or 6. I said you should have prayed at least 8. He said no, it seemed like you guys were reading Surah Baqarah. I said we were reading Surah Baqarah, brother. You got it twisted. But anyways, may Allah accept from all of us. So, the Prophet ﷺ's birth in his early childhood. So the Prophet ﷺ is born in the year 570 CE. And this actually aligns with something we know in our tradition as the year of the elephant. It's not the Chinese tradition where they have the year of the monkey, the snake, no. This is completely something different from that. That year, just as a matter of fact, 50 days or 55 days before the coming of the Prophet ﷺ into this world, that event took place. It's a remarkable incident in our seerah. As a matter of fact, what happens is there's a king by the name of Abraha. Abraha was a very powerful man, a man of prominence to the people of Yemen. When he saw that the Muslims, or not the Muslims, but the pagans, when they were making tawaf of the Ka'batullah Sharifa in Mecca. Mind you, this is something they did even before Islam. They did this in the days of ignorance as well. Don't ask how they did it and what condition they did it, but they still used to perform tawaf, go around in circles of the Ka'batullah Sharifa, even before the Prophet ﷺ. Nonetheless, he didn't like this. He was jealous, like the kids say, he was jealous of this. Why? He wanted the people to give him honor and reverence. So he decided to erect, to construct his own great church in Yemen, in Sana'a or Hadramaut, I can't remember, but nonetheless, he did it. He had to order the people to make tawaf of his structure. Nobody showed up. That's Ka'batullah Sharifa, like the Imam just read, إِنَّ أَوَّلَ بَيْتٍ وُضِعَ لِلنَّاسِ لَلَّذِي في بكة مباركا وهدى للعالمين. So when that didn't happen, he was furious and enraged. He said, that's not possible for people to continue to worship that one in mine. I'm going to set out with an army of elephants and I'm going to destroy that one brick by brick. You wish. That's what he thought and he planned. Allah Ta'ala's plan was different. He marches out with a mighty army of elephants, which was pretty alien at that time. And he comes pretty close to Mecca, and he has his people take or steal, loot the camels of Abdul Muttalib, who is the grandfather of the Prophet ﷺ. And when Abdul Muttalib finds out, he gets really upset. My camels have been stolen. This isn't right. He goes. Remember, he's strikingly handsome. He's a man of great sharp wit. He's a man of wisdom and understanding. He's the grandfather of the Prophet ﷺ, so you can put 2 and 2 together. He shows up to the palace of Abraha. And he says, Your Majesty, he says, yes, Abraha would never in his life do this for anybody else but Abdul Muttalib. He wouldn't allow him to sit on his throne with him, but he descends the throne to welcome the grandfather of the Prophet ﷺ and asks him, yes, what is it? He said, your people have stolen my camels. I'm here to take them back. He said, really? Of all the things in the world, you're worried about your camels? I'm about to destroy your Kaaba. He said, the camels belong to me. I'd like to do something about them. The Kaaba belongs to Allah. He'll take care of it. He said, I thought you were a smart man until now, but nonetheless, take your camels. He goes back to Mecca with his camels. And he tells all the people of Mecca they need to take shelter and find refuge or seek shelter inside of the mountains. They go, they hide. Abraha comes. And with his army of elephants, he thought he would destroy the Kaaba. Allah sent Tayran Ababil from the heavens, from the skies. A small, tiny, weak army to destroy the entire army of Abraha. And they were destroyed. Just a little while after that, the Prophet ﷺ is born. Now, the details of the miracles that take place in the life of the Prophet ﷺ, I think we're going to want to sit here until Fajr. We can't do that. But what you are going to do is you're going to open up the books of Seerah and start reading about it yourself. So the Prophet ﷺ is born. He's born an orphan. Remember, his father had gone on a business journey, expedition, and he never made it back home to Mecca, and so he left this world. He was ultimately brought back home, but no, he was already home. The Prophet ﷺ wasn't home, but he was given birth to by his mother, Amina. Amina bint Wahab. Amina is his mother, Abdullah is his father. Amina would take care of him after he was given birth to. Again, she sees a light that emanates from her stomach all the way to the palaces of the Greek palaces in Rome, and so many great things. A fire that had been lit by the Zoroastrians, the Persians, for 1,000 years. It had never been extinguished until the Prophet ﷺ was born, and the palace of the palace of Kisra, its pillars, they would start to collapse. When the Prophet ﷺ came into this world, there are numerous miracles that take place during that time, and it was a time to rejoice. Mind you, in the history of mankind, it is the greatest day that has ever happened. The day that the Prophet ﷺ comes into this world. Nonetheless, he comes into this world, and I hate trying to make this look short, but I have to. For 2 years, he's taken care of by his mother, Amina. Amina takes care of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. At the age of 2, there's a custom prevalent amongst those Arabs at the time, is that they would take their children and they would hand them off to a wet nurse that would come from the desert sands. There, the child would be expected to learn, real Arabic, real traditional Arabic, and to be able to breathe that air and become familiar with the customs of the Baddu, the villager Arabs. So the Prophet ﷺ was brought with all the other kids that were going to be taken by wet nurses of the tribe of Banu Sa'ad, and there they were going to be raised by them. Listen. So all the babies are to a place where the people will come and select a baby and take that baby home. Everybody, it makes sense. Everybody's paying attention. Close that door, home slice. So what happens? All the kids are brought. These are babies, okay? And anyone from the tribe of Banu Sa'ad that is going to pick up a child is going to do so hoping that they're going to get some benefit thereby. So if I pick up this child A, this child comes from a very well-to-do, wealthy family. There's benefits in that for me. So let me pick up this child. Whether this child looks good or not, doesn't matter. I know there's benefits to this. Next child, the same. Third, fourth. Every child that was there to be picked up that day was taken but him. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And every family that came to pick up a child picked one up, but Halimatu Sa'diyah, her husband, and she's got a child too. She's had no food. She's had no milk. She's got a donkey that's very thin and lean. She's got a camel that's the slowest in the entire caravan of camels that came to pick up these kids. So she's in a very dire situation herself. And she looks at the boy and she says, his father's no more. He's being taken care of by his mom. His grandfather's quite old. I don't know, it's maybe just his uncle, if anything. Maybe not, do us any benefit. So we'll leave him. They left the child there. Mind you, this is the paragon of Allah's creation. And they left, leaving him there. Read the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. And they took off. Just before they got too far, Halima addressed her husband saying, wait, that's not right. We're the last ones leaving with nothing. He was the last one there, picked up by no one. Perhaps we should just pick him up anyways. Whether we do get benefited by or not, it's pretty messed up. Maybe we go back. And so they do. Halima narrates. She says, I picked up this child and embraced him. From that minute, that moment in time, divine blessings began to descend. From where we don't know. Allah just continued to bless us. From that moment, my child who had nothing, I had nothing, no milk to give this child. All of a sudden, my child is happy. This child is happy. Our camel that was the slowest is ahead of everybody else. And they're telling me, Halima, what happened? You were the slowest. You were keeping us back. And now all of a sudden you've taken... She goes, I don't know what happened. I embraced this child. I picked him up and off we went. And I came home and the grass starts to grow and everybody... I could hear the neighbors admonishing their servants saying, why don't you know how to take care of your animals like Halima does? And I didn't know what was going on. But anyways, this went on for 2 years and 2 more years until the age of 6. Ultimately, he wasn't mine. I had to give him back. I wish I could keep him with me for even longer because this was the best time that I'd ever seen in that life. I had to return him to his mom at the age of 6. His mom had gone on a journey with him, and a woman by the name of Baraka, also known as Ayman, they went. And on their way home, back to Mecca, at a place called Abwa, his mom passes away.
So he's a full-out yatim orphan. He's 6. Daddy was gone before he came. Mom's gone, he's only 6. For the next 2 years, he was taken care of by his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, one of the greatest people Quraysh has ever produced. But Abdul Muttalib had to leave too, at the age of 8. After that, he was taken into the care of his uncle, Abu Talib. And oh, Abu Talib, he didn't embrace Islam, but what a support he was for the Prophet ﷺ as long as he was alive. We'll continue tomorrow.